Whenever a game's final hours start closing in is when I feel the most into a game, at least most of the time, unless I'm starting to get burnt out. By the later half, you've mastered the gameplay, have most if not all of the items, and the game finally takes off the kitty gloves. The thing I love about the last third of Majora's Mask though is how non-linear it is. Especially if you're trying to get off a mask or you're going for 100%. A lot of it is just side quests. Sure, there's a huge chapter storyline to go through, but we'll go over that in a bit. I really like the way this works. Just having a bunch of smaller quests to do, it feels less intimidating. And is most likely why my favorite part of so many games is the period right before the final boss, where you're prepping, like in Chrono Trigger, most of the Pokemon games, or quite a few other Zelda games. I won't be tackling all these side quests just yet though, I'll be making a whole episode dedicated to the biggest of the big. Nonetheless, I decided to tackle just a few to make the next area a little easier. Firstly, over by the same place where you found the stone mask is Akhana Graveyard. I really do like spooky areas, and this one is among my favorites. The graveyard is a burial place to the soldiers who died long ago in a forgotten war for a fallen kingdom known as Ikana, meaning it's not even a graveyard for Termina's residents. So why does Dompe even live here? I don't actually, now that I think about it, I wouldn't mind living here if I'm being honest. In the back of the cemetery, you see this weird giant skeleton thing. If you play the Sonata of Awakening, it revives it from death, only instead of being terrifying, it runs away. Catching up with it leads to a short fight that's over before you know it. The skeleton in question is Kida, a captain of the once great Ikana army of 1,000 years ago, and was annihilated in battle. The souls of his men now lie restless as stall children, not knowing the war has ended. His own soul is troubled as well, like with Darmani and Mikau. Kida's wishes are then given to Link. He wants Link to tell his men that the war is over, and they can rest in peace. To do this, he gives Link the captain's hat, which makes others think he looks like Captain Kida somehow, despite being like 700 feet smaller. You can use this hat to talk to the stall children, which starts a theme for this whole chapter. The monsters aren't evil, they're just tortured souls. Each night, you can tell the stall children to open the grave they stand by that night. On the first night, the grave leads to an underground area with another tortured soul, the royal composer Flat. His brother Sharp sold his soul and trapped his own beneath the graveyard. However, Flat still cares for his brother and teaches a song to Link to remind his brother of the time they shared. My personal favorite, the Song of Storms. I love this song. I typically love rain as long as I don't have to get out in it. There's just something so atmospheric about it and relaxing about it. I don't know what it is, but basically I think I've heard that rain basically let early humans know that there's no predators or anything out there, and also that they're gonna get water to drink and they won't die of dehydration. But I don't know, it's just something so relaxing about the rain. And the song melody itself is also very relaxing, and it just makes me feel good. On night 2, the stall children walk around a different grave. In this one, you fight another dark nut and get a piece of heart. On night 3, outside yet another grave is a huge open area, but Dampe somehow managed to dig through in his shack. You can then lock onto them to lead them to diggable spots around the room. Some of them contain blue flames, others contain nothing. And some of these spots are really high up, so you have to use these platforms to get Dompe up really high and hope he doesn't walk off. Additionally, since it's the third day, there's not really a whole lot of time to mess around or mess up. Once 3 of the flames are lit, a big Poe emerges. If you manage to do all of this and defeat the Poe, you get a 5th empty bottle. In the milk bar in Clocktown, once you get the Rahmani's mask and the Zora's mask, talk to the 3rd Goron brother at the bar. He's a troop leader whose concert was cancelled and is trying to drink his worries away with milk. Also at the bar is a Zora band member, and you can do a performance with him that involves every form of Link playing the Ballad of the Windfish. This melody brings back memories to the circus leader, and to show his appreciation, he gives Link his mask. It has no function at all, so only get it if you're trying to get all the masks. In the 3DS version though, it does allow you to do a new side quest that lets you get another empty bottle though. Okay, this is the last thing, I promise. Then we get on to the canon itself. Sorry, it should have been at the end of the last episode, I apologize. Anyway, at the back of Great Bay, there's another spider house that's even better than the swamp spider house. It's a little easier to figure out, surprisingly. It's a bit spookier, and you can talk to the stall children there with the captain's hat to get hints. But be sure to clear it on the first day, because I forgot about this and did it on the second day for whatever reason, and you know what you get for doing it? A purple rupee, a purple friggin' rupee. For all my work, I got something I could do in 45 seconds back at a Romani ranch. For doing it on the first day, he gives you the adult's wallet, which can hold up to 500 rupees, and with it you can buy the All Knight's mask from the Curiosity Shop, which you can then use to learn about the history of Termina and get some pieces of heart. Alright, onto Akhana itself. At the entrance, there's this Poe Collector clone. He says that the land has been cursed, and the spirits wander the land restlessly. To be able to enter, you'll need the Garo's mask. The spirit guy then wonders if Link will be the one to save the valley's souls, and raises a branch which can be latched onto with the hook shot. The music here is unsettling and creepy, making it feel like the land really is cursed. A nearby cave is the home of Sharp, the brother of Flat. Just like his brother said, Sharp has let his soul darken. It's darkened so much that not even a song of healing can heal his soul. The only thing that can is the Song of Storms, which also conveniently floods the nearby river basin, which turns the water wheel of this house, and that plays a loud song to kill, or re-kill I guess, the Gibdos. Sharp, now seeing the light, requests that Link go to Akhana Castle to see the King of Ikana and hopefully cleanse the land. On the way out, this little girl comes out of the house, but as soon as she sees Link, she goes back in. What you need to do is take a bomb, drop it, and then go to the other side of the house and wait for her to come out, and when she walks around a little bit, rush in and enter the house while she's not looking. Inside is a horrifying sight. A man, looking like a Gibdo. Playing the Song of Healing returns him to normal, as it did to Link, sealing the evil away into a mask. The man is the father of the girl, and the two have a heartfelt moment. The whole cutscene warms my heart. It's one of the many wholesome scenes in this game, and is a good contrast to the creepy and dark moments coming up. The Gibdo mask that fell off the guy's face comes in handy. It lets you talk to Gibdos and enter this well. Before entering though, be sure to stock up on some stuff, because this dungeon has a lot of times you have to collect stuff in empty bottles and give them to the guard Gibdos to enter other rooms, sort of like the monkey cave from Earthbound. The only difference is you need to collect stuff in empty bottles, and if you skipped out on getting some of the extra empty bottles, this part can be pretty tedious. The things that you need to have before entering are 5 magic beans, which you can get from a business scrub in Woodfall, a blue potion, which you can get from a business scrub nearby, and a power keg from the bomb shop in Clocktown. You could also get some stuff that's already provided in the well, which makes the mini dungeon a lot easier and shorter, like Deku nuts, bombs, fish, or bugs. But all the stuff are provided in the dungeon. You can just get them if you want to make it a little shorter. At the end of the labyrinth, Link gets the mirror shield, which you can use to deflect light to activate creepy sun faces and come out the other end to Akhana Castle, which is another mini dungeon, although not as fun as the one we were just in. There's some more mirror shield puzzles, dancing Gibdos, and really annoying parts where you have to use the Deku flower to get the other side of the room, but everything keeps killing you. Worst of all is this giant crack in the ceiling that can only be destroyed with a powder keg. Remember what I said earlier about needing one? Well, take my advice, or else you have to go back all the way to Clocktown and backtrack all the way back here. You don't have to give the Gibdos anything all over again, but it's tedious and is a mistake that I've made countless times while playing this game in the past. Ikana Castle isn't that bad though. The scenery of a ruined castle has always interested me. It's not that long, and most of all, there's the grand stage fight against the king. Ikana. Yeah, I can't say it right. At first, he sends his men to fight, and they go down fairly easily. He just set the curtains on fire with a fire arrow, which lets sunlight in, then slash them until they fall, and then reflect the light from the windows onto their bodies with your mirror shield. One thing I always found funny is that if Link is wearing the captain's hat, the king thinks he's Kita, but he's smart enough to realize at the end that he's too small, unlike everyone else. After his men are beat, he draws his sword and comes into battle to fight Link himself. He's fought in the same manner as his men and goes down just the same. However, what separates this from most other scary chapters in gaming is how it's not just creepy, but also incredibly sad. Ikana Kingdom was once a kingdom like Hyrule, but unlike Hyrule, it fell. The game doesn't describe how, but it's safe to assume it was totally destroyed, to the point of where there is no survivors to pick up the pieces and create a new kingdom. This isn't what's making the dead unable to rest in peace though. The source of this whole cursed land is when Skull Kid opened the doors to possibly the most cursed place in Zelda. Stone Tower Temple, a beyond ancient temple, older than Ikana or anything else in Termina. No one knows who built it or why it exists, but the king begs Link to go there and seal the doors. However, to be able to reach there, he teaches Link the final song, the Elegy of Emptiness. It creates a shell of Link behind, having one in each form. With it, you can climb the tower and reach a temple at the top. However, before entering, be sure to play the Song of Time, because you'll need as much time as you can get. When it comes to Stone Tower Temple, I have a love-hate relationship with it. On the story and lore side of things, I love it to death. There's fears in how it was the containment unit used to seal away Majora, or it could be the Tower of Babel from the Bible. There's just so many theories on it that are good, and I would make some videos about it, but so many other people have already made way better videos than I could ever make on it, so I won't. Music here is some of the greatest in the series. It's not unsettling and eerie like the rest of the temple themes, and not like any other place in the land. It's sad, surreal, otherworldly. It gives me a different vibe than any other place in the game. It feels like the home of gods instead of just being another temple. What I don't like about Stone Tower Temple though is how difficult it is. It feels like a culmination of every frustrating thing in this game, with irritating segment after irritating segment, especially this one. I have to use the mirror share to power up these mirrors, and then have to run over to them, deflect light onto another mirror, and then use that to deflect light onto the sunblock. Halfway through, you get light arrows, which are the most powerful weapon in the game, well, kind of. The second half of the temple really sucks though. You have to exit it, play the Elegy of Emptiness all over again on your switches, and use a light arrow on the switch and it averts the temple. Make sure you don't miss anything, because if you do, it takes forever to get back to it again. Collecting all the stray fairies is also a pain, especially since to get some, you have to keep flipping the gravity over and over again. I don't know if I'd recommend getting all of them this time though. Reward is the Great Fairy Sword. It's a C item rather than being a swappable blade like an Ocarina of Time, and it is good. It is good, like the big Goron sword. But the difficulty of getting it might be a little too much, especially for first timers. Stone Tower Temple is the only temple in the game that I've ever run out of time on. Seriously, do not take this temple lightly. I'd say it's the hardest in this series. Overall though, even though there's some problems with it, I would say it is probably my favorite in the game. It just feels really rewarding when you get stuff done, and it's accomplishment, I guess. Another cool thing you get here is the Giant's Mask, which can only be used on this temple's boss, Twin Mold. Speaking of which, is kind of cool. You can use a Giant's Mask to turn into a giant, and then have an easier time getting hits on him. And as a word of advice, whatever you do not get too close to the edge of the stage, or else you get sent back to the beginning of the dungeon and have to fight the boss all over again. Overall, I think I might say it's my favorite Zelda temple of all time. And with the boss defeated, the final giant is freed, and now nothing lies between us and the final boss. But there's one major side quest that I've held off on doing until now. One that's my favorite side quest maybe in a video game ever. A side quest that involves the love of a soon-to-be newlywed couple. And with that, I'll see you all then, everybody.